Hello again and welcome to this edition of Charge Fast Break right here on Rock Sports. I'm Scott Zurilla. Glad you are with us. Coming up on today's show, we're going to sit down and go one-on-one with Cavaliers two-way forward Luke Travers. We're also going to make you a better three-point shooter, courtesy of Miller Kopp and his tips from the pros. And Sean Wyatt and I are going to look back at one of our favorite moments in Charge history as we continue to celebrate 15 seasons of Charge basketball. But at this time, as always, we like to tell you everything you need to know about the Charge and anything you might have missed around the NBA G League. Well, the Charge come in at 5-5 after the first 10 games of the tip-off portion of the schedule. They're 2-2 at Public Hall, 3-3 on the road. After missing the first 5 games of the season due to a hip injury, Killian Hayes is averaging 26 points per game, shooting 49% from the field, 39% from three, with just under 7 assists per game, including a career-high 40 points at Windy City on November 28th. Luke Travers comes in averaging 22 points per game with 6.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists per game in 5 games with the Charge as well. Norchad Omier has muscled his way to 17.5 points per game with 10 rebounds per game, which is good for 10th in the NBA G League. He also has 4 double-doubles. And Darius Brown II, he's averaging 11 points per game with 10 assists, which is tops in the league, and is number 1 in the league with 100 assists. Now, as we look at the team rankings for the Charge, they're number 1 with 17 offensive rebounds a game, they're number 1 with 29.3 assists per game, and they're number 5, scoring 125.5 points per game. And congratulations to Norchad Omier, as he wrapped up representing his home country of Nicaragua in the FIBA Men's World Cup qualifiers. In 2 games, Norchad posted games of 26 points, 14 rebounds, 6 assists, and 3 steals in Game 1, followed up in Game 2 with totals of 20 points and 20 rebounds. Well done, Norchad. And with that, let's take you around the NBA G League for some news and notes. Big man Drew Timme of the South Bay Lakers was signed to a 2-way contract by the LA Lakers after averaging over 25 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists per game for South Bay. Guard Kobe Buffkin of the South Bay Lakers signed a 10-day contract with the Memphis Grizzlies after averaging 22 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists for the Lakers. So there you go. It's that time of the year where guys now starting to get their call-ups to the NBA, and congratulations to everybody who's gotten theirs so far this season. Okay, we need to take our first time out of the show, but when we come back, I'm going to sit down and go one-on-one with Cavaliers two-way forward Luke Travers. That's coming up next right here on Charge Fast Break. Welcome back to Charge Fast Break right here on the Rock Entertainment Sports Network. And it is a real pleasure to welcome back to the show Cavaliers two-way forward Luke Travers. Luke, good to see you again. How you doing?
Very good. Good to be back.
Great. How have you been able to settle in? Because I remember last year when we talked on Media Day, it was kind of new. It was the first time you'd been around in a while. You've been back and forth. Now you've had some time here to settle in. How are things going for you?
Yeah, a lot better. I say it to everyone, but my second season is always a little bit better. Just way more comfortable around the guys and I guess the city as well. So it's been good.
How much better prepared are you for both things on and off the court?
A lot better. Yeah, obviously got more of a routine this year, and being kind of used to everything is always helps. So looking forward to trying to tweak those things and make everything a little bit better.
So the mindset coming in, I know again it was different last year, kind of fitting in, trying to learn your way, etc. Well, you got time not only with the Cavaliers last year, some good time with the Charge. You've had some time with the Cavaliers this season. How have things been able to progress for you?
Yeah, a lot better. Obviously, the other night was a good experience for me to be out there in rotation minutes as well. So another step forward, and just going to kind of continue to try to build on that as well. So I think first year was kind of, like you said, filling it out, getting a little taste of it. And then this year is kind of where got to take that step forward and continue to work on my game and show down the court.
Now, as a Cavalier two-way player, you spend time both in the NBA and the G League. The NBA, you are getting sporadic minutes depending upon any sort of situations. You get constant minutes in the G League. How have you married those two together when you're, as you said earlier, you have to be ready with the Cavaliers, but when you play with the Charge, you're able to just go out and be yourself. How do you marry those two?
I think a lot of it's G League is kind of for confidence, really. You have that one of the bigger roles on the team, and the ball is in your hands a lot. So using that as well, to then when you go to the NBA, it's your role's a little bit less, but you have the confidence where you're stepping into each shot, whether it's one shot, 5 shots. You have the confidence to knock it down. So I think that the confidence part is 50% of the game, really, the mental side. So taking that from the NBA G League to the NBA is the big part.
Sports, everybody loves to look at numbers, statistics. You had a terrific year with the Charge last year. You had 4 triple-doubles. How much do you think that, because again, people notice the numbers, not always necessarily, again, you can play well and not fill the stat sheet, but people see stats. How much do you think that those 4 triple-doubles and just the numbers that you did put up with the Charge really kind of bring more awareness to you, more of an opportunity?
Yeah, I think it's more just whether it's social media or, scouts maybe from other teams, and, they kind of take notice of that a little bit more than, like you said, the guys that don't necessarily fill out the stat sheet, which has kind of been the story of my career, really. I've never been the guy to, fill up the stat sheet. But, when you do, it's, you just kind of get a little bit more notice, and you might play the same, but not necessarily pull up the stats. So, definitely grabs a little bit more eyes.
How much has it helped to have Naquan Tomlin, a teammate of yours, another two-way with the Cavaliers, back and forth with you? You've played together with him with the G, with the Cavs, practice, travel. To kind of have that guy in the same situation as you, is it very helpful?
Yeah, very. You go to him for just about everything. He's sharing the same experiences. So, always, pick his brain on how he's feeling and, what he's carrying from the G League to the NBA and vice versa. So, it's good to have someone in the same sort of boat as you. So it's been good to kind of lean on each other.
How much has it helped you to have a second season with Kenny Atkinson?
For sure. It's obviously on the court. It's good to, continue those things, but it's just about getting to know each other off the court as well. What your habits are and how you are as a person, I think, is the biggest part. So to be able to, get to know each other a little bit more off the court, it's been super important to then transition onto the court as well.
Speaking of coaches, got a new one with the Charge, Eli Kell Abrams. I know you haven't had a ton of time bouncing back and forth, but the little bit that you've been with him, what are your thoughts on him? Because a lot of energy coming out of him, isn't it?
Yeah, which is always good. He's a super, I think he's more of a player coach. He's always, getting feedback from us as players, what we're seeing out in the court and how our bodies are feeling and stuff like that. So I think it's really good to, share those kind of conversations on the court as well. So it's been really cool to spend this little bit of time with him.
And now that you're in the thick of things here, how you feeling and what's the mindset moving forward?
Feeling really good. Confidence is probably at an all-time high. So I had little expectations last year. I think I wanted to average like 16, 8, and 5 and make the all rookie team and all G League team. So those goals are still there, maybe a little bit better now. I want to average, 22, 10, and 7 or something like that, and really aim for, the first team and, potentially even MVP and stuff. So confidence is sky high, and then, put expectations on yourself as well.
Well, Luke Travers, always great to talk with you. Continued success and looking good so far. Keep up the good work.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Luke Travers joining us here on Charge Fast Break. We need to take a timeout. When we come back, we'll have more right here on the Rock Entertainment Sports Network. Welcome back to Charge Fast Break. Well, it is time for our first edition of Tips from the Pros this season. And to help us shoot the 3-ball better, we're going to bring in Miller Kopp, a guy that shot at 41% last year with the Oklahoma City Blue, a 39% career shooter. Miller, thanks for the time.
Appreciate it.
All right, now 3-point shooting. You growing up, 3-ball shooting has been a big deal.
Yep.
It's just part of the game. Has it made it easier for you in the sense that because that's just the way basketball has always been, for you to naturally gravitate to be a 3-point shooter?
I think I wouldn't say was a great shooter because I wasn't a great shooter my freshman year of college. My percentages were like 29%. So I got better, but I always had good mechanics. And I think for me, that's helped as like the game has evolved
Sure.
into more important 3-point shooting.
Right.
So like for me, it's just like good form.
Yep.
Starts with good form.
Okay. Now, how about players that you have emulated? Because again, everybody shoots the threes these days, but is there somebody that you growing up, it's like, man, I like that. That's really got me going to the line?
You know what? I watched a lot of JJ Redick clips
Oh, okay,
growing
yeah,
up.
yeah.
I remember in high school and stuff watching a lot of YouTube of him and his big games and all that stuff. So probably JJ Redick's one
Yeah,
of them.
that's not bad. That's not bad.
Yeah.
Do you remember the most you've ever made in a game? Any level?
3-pointers?
Yeah.
Maybe like 8 in college.
Oh, nice.
Someone will check me on that, but around there, I don't know. I can't count well.
I'll check you after.
Yeah.
How about attempts?
Attempts?
Yeah.
Maybe 13 or 14.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, when do you get the feeling that you're on shooting the three? Because sometimes we go out on the court, shots not always dropping.
Yeah.
When there's like, oh man, I'm on.
Well, I think sometimes when you make the shots, or when I make the shots that I don't think are going in, and then I'm like, oh wait, I might be in for a good night. Because sometimes you shoot a shot and it doesn't feel great, but it still goes in, and then you're like, wait, I might be on tonight. Because if that's going in, everything's going in.
Right. Now, through training camp and early in the season now, I've seen that you, let's be honest, you don't hesitate taking shots, and you seem to have the green light. Lots of different places on the floor to shoot from. Is that something that the coach has encouraged you to do? And if so, how great is it to have the green light to shoot threes?
Well, I definitely have the green light, which is great. It feels great, but you got to earn it. And I feel like I've earned it over the years of work and games and stuff. And so I feel like I definitely have the green light, and now it's about trying to just find as many good, clean threes as I can.
There you go. All right, well, let's get to it then. Let's break things down a little bit. You mentioned earlier about mechanics. One thing when I talk to younger people, when they ask me, how do I be a better shooter? You're around basketball players all the time. Would you agree that sometimes young people come out and the first thing they do is they start shooting threes? That's probably not a good idea, is it?
It's not a good thing.
What would you suggest they do?
I was never allowed to do that. When my dad first started to teach me how to shoot, I wasn't able to shoot farther than, say, like 4 feet from the rim, until I was strong enough to keep the same form and shoot the same shot just from deeper. So I started super close to the rim, I still do, and work my way out.
Because again, back to mechanics, if your mechanics are bad from here, they're only going to get worse out there because it's a farther shot,
Exactly.
correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's talk mechanics specifically. We hear about squaring the feet, the shoulders, the follow through the elbows. Give us a good look. What does that look like?
I think the biggest thing for people is their base. So I think if people and players work on their base, I shoot a little bit staggered. So if I'm on this line, I don't necessarily shoot like this. Some people do, where their feet are perfectly in line. I shoot a little bit staggered. My right foot's in front of my left, which that's just personal preference. It feels better. So whenever you have a base that you feel comfortable with, usually shoulders width apart, maybe sometimes wider, so you're on balance. Because if you're shooting like this, it's way easier to be off balance.
Sure.
And the shot is off balance too.
Yep.
So wide base, I think, sink down in your hips. And for me, in terms of holding the ball, there's different ideologies of whether you have a whole hand on the ball or have a little gap in the side of the ball. I don't know. Everybody shoots different. Steph Curry shoots differently than Klay Thompson, but they still are great shooters.
Yeah.
So I don't think one size fits all, but I think the bigger thing is having your hands spread out on the ball, because you don't want to shoot like this. It's going to be impossible to make shots like this.
Okay.
So the bigger thing is having your hand spread out on the ball. Try to find the laces. If you can't, don't worry about it. But it starts with wide base, sink down in the hips, grip the ball, but not super tight, or else you're not going to have any feel.
Okay.
Spread your hand out wide on the ball so your fingers are spread apart. And then from there, I like to think of loading your wrist. And so my wrist, is loaded pretty far back. And so from there, I think the biggest thing to learn where your shooting pocket is, and this right here is my shooting pocket.
Okay.
So to learn where that is, I think you have your base, get your hand placement on the ball, and then you just find your shot just like that. And that's just kind of how I think of it.
And the only thing that you missed, but I know you're going to agree with me, that elbow.
Yeah.
Don't want that elbow to flare, do you?
And that's the thing is if you do this drill you know, and you get your hand gripped on the ball and you bring it up. There's no way your elbow can be out because then the ball will fall on the ground. So for me, if you do this and you get to your shooting pocket and you can't hold the ball up here, then your elbow is not in the right place. So for me, if your elbow's out, the ball's gonna fall. So there's no way if you do this that the ball will be, you know, not online.
My biggest question now is, where were you when I was like 8 years old? Because that is really well done. I like that. I knew the shoulders and but that pocket right there, that's perfect. That's perfect. Well, let's get on and have you take a couple. Now, again, there's plenty of spots to shoot from, but I know you mentioned you like the corners. Are you looking for the corners, especially in those like those semi breaks? Do you like to try to, it looks open and run to it?
Yeah, so in college, actually, I had a lot of, probably 70% of my points and my shots came from the corner.
Okay.
And so I'm really used to getting shots there, and it's a really high value shot because it's a three-pointer, but it's the closest distance to the rim. So it's easier. It's an easier shot than most threes. So yeah, a lot of my shots come from the corner because they're easier.
Yep. Let me give you a pass. We'll get Sean White to come on in and do a little bit of a rebound for us, even though I don't think there's going to be much rebounding to be doing here.
Oh. See, the good thing about shooting is that you can make 4 out of 10 and still have a great game.
Yeah, it's similar to baseball a little bit, correct? I mean, you're going to fail 70% of the time, and 40% is terrific.
So you can miss your first 6 shots.
Although you do have, yes, but you made one. But you have to finish. But what is the old saying too? You finish on a make.
Yeah, you got to finish.
Always
got
to finish on a make.
And a big thing with a shooter is to make shots, you got to take shots.
Yeah.
And you're going to miss like Steph Curry, he misses the majority of the shots he takes.
It's crazy.
But I just missed my first 3-4 shots.
Yeah.
Can't be discouraged when you miss shots because if you do, you're never going to make shots.
Well, if you're not a better three-point shooter now, I can't help you. This guy can't help you. That's as good as it's going to get. Miller Kopp, thank you so much, my friend.
Appreciate it.
All right. Well, like I said, go keep practicing. You know what you got to do. Be a better three-point shooter and make more points in the game. All right, let's take a timeout. We've got more Charge Fast Break coming up next right here on the Rock Entertainment Sports Network. Steps to his right, the 3-ball. Good! Oh, what a shot!
Celebrating 15 seasons of Charge basketball, one moment at a time.
On February 8th, 2020, Levi Randolph scored 47 points during a 124-123 overtime win at Westchester. In 39 minutes, Randolph hit 18 of 24 shots while adding 9 rebounds and 4 assists.
Celebrating 15 seasons of Charge basketball.
And welcome back to Charge Fast Break as we continue to celebrate 15 seasons of Charge basketball. Vice President of Communications Sean White joining me as we're going to look back at some of our favorite moments in Charge history. And Sean, that was a really good one. February 8th, 2020, you were in the building. What do you remember about that?
I remember it was a playoff atmosphere, really. They had a great crowd. It was packed, and the game was back and forth. No team really got too much of a lead either way. It was kind of trading blows throughout the game, and I remember the intensity was high, the excitement was high. I was a little nervous. I went to grab my laptop charger toward the end of the game back in the house, and Levi Randolph kept scoring and getting to the free throw line while I was back there. So I actually stayed and watched the rest of the game from the back of the house and had it on the stream because we kept scoring when I was away. So I stayed and tried to do my part.
Which is crazy because in that game, he didn't make a three. And it seemed like every shot you saw in the spot there, every shot was a big shot, triple overtime. And it's one of those games where he basically single-handedly carried the Charge of that game.
He was getting to the lane however he could, floaters, scoop shots, fadeaways, and again, got to the line a ton and just kept hitting those free throws at the line too consistently. Just, like you said, never hit a three, but just put up huge numbers and kind of carried us to that win.
You said it was playoff atmosphere. What was the crowd like? Again, normally when you have guys making three after three, you get the oohs and the ahs. What did the crowd sound like when he was making basket after basket?
Yeah, you get a little defeated every time because they think, you keep thinking they're about to, hit that blow, that finishing blow that's going to put the home team ahead. And then Levi just kept whatever way he could do and responding. Yeah. Even in my back room, I could hear the noise and then the quiet when things happened on the stream. So it was pretty exciting.
I remember talking to Dean Wade on Media Day, and I asked him what he remembers as we celebrate 15 seasons. He brought up this game. And I said, well, what do you remember? And he goes, that Levi just couldn't miss anything, and it was just so much fun. So even players were really involved in that game as well. That's how big of a game it was. Not only just the points, but the way it came about and the fact that it was done on the road.
And that team that year, it seemed like we had a different guy stepping up each game. And I think that's what Dean remembers. And that game was Levi's game. And I look back at it, that was started an 8 wins out of 10 game stretch that we had. That was the catalyst for that was really pushing our team to what would have been, we think, a successful playoff run if we had the chance. But
that was one of our favorite moments going back to February 8th of 2020. Now that's going to do it for this favorite moment of ours. Sean and I are going to be with you for following shows coming up this year. And you don't want to miss it because we went back and dug into the archives and really came up with some fun stuff. So thank you, Sean.
Yes, sir.
It was fun, and it's going to be fun. So continue to be with us. That is going to do it for this edition of Charge Fast Break. So for Sean Wyatt, I'm Scott and Zurilla. Tune in next time for Charge Fast Break right here on Rock Sports.